Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. We will call it 6:30, 5:36. Okay, determination of a quorum. I believe we do have a quorum.
Yes.
Item number 3, public comments. Do you have any public comments? No public comments? Okay, moving on to item number 4.
There are no public hearings.
No public hearings, okay. Item number 5, approval of minutes of the previous board meeting. Somebody can make a motion to approve the minutes. So moved. Okay, we need a second. Okay, second,
We'll just need to take a vote on that.
a quick vote.
Right.
No. Okay, information or discussion items, 6A, updates from the Parks and Rec supervisor. From, city council member Portillo.
Yes, this is our normal where we're at, what you have going on.
If you can go ahead and approve the plate.
Let me go through it.
Okay.
We have a better idea.
Yeah. You have David. Adriano?
So from the last time, hasn't been much because of the contractors and the holidays and all that. So, Coconut Park. We still have, that concrete, that sidewalk going down. That's gonna be for, Big Bang Concrete. They're gonna probably get started on the next week or the week after. And then, the scoreboard, new one at International Field, we installed it already. Everything looking good. And then, we'll jump to the dog park. So finally, Big Bend Materials went and poured the concrete.
Good.
They're lacking just 2 more, but they should be getting done this week, and then hopefully with their schedule, once they put the anchors and everything, they should just go up right away. And I'll keep you updated on that for sure.
A question on that is, what's the plan for the dog park? I mean, what's the concrete basis for, since I'm kind of coming in late here, what's that
It's
project?
for a big shade structure
Okay,
that was donated from the public library.
oh, nice.
So, Big Bend Materials, they volunteered to go ahead and install it for us since they always do those kind of buildings.
Great.
So they're putting all the concrete.
Wow.
You know, they gave it to us and
Yeah.
all the anchors, everything that's needed. All we have to do is the labor, just dig the hole.
Cool. All right.
But other than that, they're gonna do everything, which make a lot of people happy. And then, we'll go to Pueblo Nuevo. And that one as well, we're waiting for CT Electric. He's probably gonna meet with me next week, so he could start on part of it, and then from there, he's gonna go on and finish out the electrical work, the panel, the lights, outlets and all that. And then also there on the where the porta potties are, I don't know if y'all seen it before, there's a 3-sided wall that we wanted to install. This was back when everything was going and never got done. So finally, Baez's Masonry, due to all his jobs and weather and all that, he's gonna be backed up. So it'll be like a month that he's gonna start.
Who was he? I'm sorry.
Baez's, Masonry,
Okay,
Julian Baez.
okay.
So, he's gonna go ahead and start that in a month or so.
For the Pueblo Nuevo, also the pavilion rental reservation forms and fees have been already drafted and submitted, and we'll be reviewing that with the ordinance changes and so forth. And so that's already in its works. As soon as we get all the electricity completed by CT Electric, we'll be prepared already with our forms ready for those reservations to start.
And the rest of the parts are just our regular maintenance, what we're doing. About it, other than that, looking good, no complaints, and still rolling, good, so. And the
Trying to
rest,
stay warm.
yes, The rest I'll turn it over to Avery, so she could tell you about
And
it.
how's the gopher situation there at the parks? The
Oh.
reason I'm asking, because they're,
No, right now,
they're not in the yard right now. You know?
yeah,
And I was just wondering, because I haven't been over to the park, if,
we're slowly pushing them to the golf course, which is not a good idea. So.
yeah,
But, I mean, it's less and less, I mean, we've tried a lot of different things, but usually it's good when summer, when I get to water a lot,
mhm,
they really don't like that,
yeah,
so. That's the plus part,
mhm.
and if we have enough water, that's the other plus part.
I had a question, just on that sidewalk, could you reiterate, what's that project? You mentioned the sidewalk, for Coconut Park.
It's Manual Plain Field,
Okay, yeah,
so it's the entrance
so it's that
From-
main,
from there. And you'll see the driveway all the way to the first dugout.
so where it's currently like a gravel driveway? You're
Yes.
saying it's gonna be paved,
Yes, because
okay.
usually we've had it for a lot of years. But the thing is, when it rains.
Yeah.
All that water just goes into the Manual Plain Field.
Yes.
So it'll take all the material to first base,
Yeah.
and doing that, we're losing a lot of material,
Yeah.
so with the sidewalk plus the curb. That should detour a little bit over there, and of course, later, we're gonna put berms and detour the water out of there.
Thank you.
Any further questions for the parks on that part? We're gonna be moving forward to recreational park. Is, no, okay. So for the recreational coordinator position, we wanted to update that the position has already been filled. The applicant did, approve the, pay rate that we offered, which was the $21. The applicant will start their onboarding process on the 20th of this month. As far as the coordinator's office setup, the janitorial services will be completed for the recreational coordinator's office and the adjacent restroom once a week by yours truly. We made arrangements, for the recreational coordinator to have their own vehicle as well. So my previous assigned vehicle, the Tahoe, is gonna be assigned for the recreational coordinator. And I will be, well, the process has already started for me to, have Heather's old truck, the one for the visitor center. She's not having any use for it, so I'll be using that truck for myself there for the streets department, and all the arrangements and the process for the amendment on those changes are already being conducted by Isadora. For policy and documentation, I should be starting on the policies and procedures for the fields and the field reservation guide this week. So hopefully, everything goes well with that and nothing, postpones me to next week, but I want to start already within these 2 weeks to start getting a good head start on that. Once the recreational coordinator has been trained, which I have been tasked to train her as much as I can in reference to the experience that I had as administrative for the pool for last year, so I'll be guiding her and training her as much as I can with that. Eddie has tasked me to also try and get her settled in. Getting her scheduled with the certifications that she's gonna be needed. I do have already the schedule for the CPO trainings. So I'll be looking at what days are gonna be something that she will be able to arrange. He's also wanting me to be part of that task to be able to have my CPO and definitely help her. He is gonna try to speak with her on the onboarding as far as scheduling her weekends, in order to attend the pool, once that gets going. I mean, he does want me to have, be available and have my CPO to be able to back her up on weekends that she won't be able to. For that same, he wants me to have the same responsibility. Once that part of the training is set up and she's well knowledgeable in order to do her policies and procedures and start drafting those, I'll be helping her, I'll be tasked to assist her as well on that. Then hopefully we can get her to begin as soon as that gets going, we will also keep you posted in all the progress So I know we've been giving you updates as far in the Parks Board meeting and in the council, so I'm gonna be drafting these and I'll give this paper as well to Gio. Every time we have a board meeting or we have a council meeting, I'll be able to give him my written draft in order for y'all to have available for your viewing. And that is pretty much it as far as our parks and field. Do you have any questions for me?
On the CPO, are y'all doing that online or are you doing it?
Yes.
Yeah,
It is the same company that, David and Michael used, for us to do the CPO. I did have a question, what was the other certification you recommended, aside from the CPR? Because I'm already certified in CPR. I'm gonna try and
some of
get
the
her,
parts,
yes, for the pool.
yeah, I can get that to you. I can't remember the initial for it.
Again.
for the
What's that?
pool.
For the parts, you mean certification?
Yes, because that's something you wanted the recreational coordinator position to be.
That's our park equipment.
Yes, yeah, I can get you the actual name of that. I don't know who gives that one. It's several people, but I can, definitely get you what the certification is. There's two of them and y'all can pick which one, you know.
If you can email me with that and I can go ahead
Yes.
and look into it and start getting at least the schedule to try and get her certifications, first thing, you
Right.
know, out of the way. I don't recall whether she was CPR certified, but I already know who we can get the CPR. I need to be renewed this year either way, so I'll be able to do that with her.
Right.
And then get her CPR, trying to get that scheduled too. And then once we find out of what other certification you'll be needing to get for the parks part, then I'll get her scheduled for that.
Right, yeah, it's a lot to take on. CPO classes.
Yeah. So I'll be serving as the administrative, not only for Eddie and David, but I'll also be administrative for, the recreational coordinator position. Any other questions? Yeah, I'll be leaving with,
All right, so moving on to 6B, discussions regarding the update to the park recreational fee schedule.
Alrighty, thank you. So, Adrian and the rest of our team and administration have been working on getting updates to the fee schedules. Essentially, we want to implement a fee schedule for the Parks and Recreation Department, and that mirrors the way that we set all of our other fees, which is usually by annual city council resolution. The board has considered some of these prices in the past, that specifically for the Coconut Pavilion. And we came up right now, I mean, on the end, basically bringing this to you all. We are recommending starting the Pueblo Nuevo Pavilion at the same rate, you know, subject to y'all's, you know, what you think. I think David had thought possibly about going up, but right now, included in the packet are just quite a few forms. One of them is just the proposed fee schedule, just for the Coconut Park Pavilion, the Pueblo Nuevo Pavilion. And then, of course, memorializing that the poll rates are set by council resolution, because that's done annually by a council resolution as well. Also included is just the current agreement that we have for the Coconut Park Pavilion. The one that we've come up with for the Pueblo Nuevo Pavilion. Just administrative items that we have, for example, the pavilion deposit refund, what needs to be done in order for the customer to get the refund. And then just the flyer that they use to show that the pavilion for. So I guess really just opening the discussion is just taking a look at these and letting us know what you think about it, and then you can also let us know if you have any feedback on the forms as well.
These are the fees here.
Yes, those are the proposed fees that we have, but you know, we can definitely change them. You would be making a recommendation tonight during the action item section. An actual recommendation to council to implement whatever fees you think.
do you need me to go up there in case there's questions?
Sure, that'd be great.
And are these, I can ask questions now? So these are the fees these are the, that we've had in the past? I mean, this is the normal fees that they have,
So-
or?
For the Coconut Park Pavilion, we You can see there's a previous fee and a new fee section.
Mhm.
So we have had the fee set $30. That was recommended by the Parks Board, last year sometime. And then we are proposing that it stays the same, you know, again, if y'all think we should go up or down, we can certainly do that as well. However, the Pueblo Nuevo Park Pavilion is completely brand new and it was just constructed, so this would be a brand new.
Right, so, and the fees are basically to cover like power, I guess, and cleanup, or, I mean, well, I know they're supposed to clean up to get their deposit back, but.
Yeah.
So that's to recoup any of those.
Yes,
And
so
is
it's
that-
gonna be to recoup, you know, like you said, the power, it's also gonna be the staff time that it takes for them to go out, clean and
Right.
trashes. And then the deposit is just in case they made a mess or they, you know,
Right.
if something vandalized or something like that.
So for the Coconut Park, we're pretty much wanting, to keep it the same, we don't see a reason to, unless you. Think that maybe there's a reason in order for us to raise that price. For the Pueblo Nuevo, we're thinking of keeping it at the same price as Coconut for now for this first year, and the reason behind it is that we wanna see how it goes. How many people are gonna reserve it? Is it gonna be as busy as the Coconut Park Pavilion? Is it gonna be less or not? It's kind of like, just like to test how it goes. If we do see that there's a definite demand on the pavilion rental, because it is a bigger size of a pavilion than the Coconut Park. And there's obviously more electrical work that's gonna go into it, then, David was, contemplating of maybe increasing it by $10, maybe $40. But we're trying to see until, next year, see how it goes for this first part. Cause there's a lot of process for that.
So, and just to clarify, this is $30 for a 12-hour period.
Yes, it'd be for a full day rental, so the board and, you know, administration kind of played around, or we implemented where we had different time slots at one point, and it really just wasn't efficient. So it would be that for the full amount. The Coconut Park Pavilion prior to the $30 was 25 for quite some time as well. And we didn't use to collect a deposit. So the board, last time we had this conversation, they contemplated, well, we have this community asset, we want to make sure that it's affordable, at the same time, we want to try to recoup our costs. And so that's where the deposit came in, and then they recommended that it be up to $30.
Yeah, my big thing is we just gotta make sure we're covering our costs. You know, what it costs for our manpower to go out there to take care of that, and then, I mean, is it used all 12 hours, or is there, I know that it's more of a hassle to have, but like, you have a morning and an afternoon, or, I mean, is it just?
What we found is that people weren't really utilizing it like within timeframes, like, you know, like. It would always happen with it, well, I wanna get there at 11 and I want to set up, but it doesn't start till 1, so, you know, the person that was supposed to have it. First of all, most people didn't to observe the morning. I'm saying like, those are the kind of issues that we were dealing with. So we would tell them, you know, well, there's no one that has a reserve right now, you can get there early. And that's why we reverted, back to the full day rental.
Let's also keep a note that, the deposit and the rental fee for the pavilion is something for them to reserve. To make sure that no one else, uses the area, because it is public. At anybody's, disposal.
Right.
So I mean, anybody can use the pavilions. But if they want to really make sure that they have the priority from whoever is using at the moment, that's where the fee comes from. What I see in the logs for this past year is that main reservations for the pavilion at the Coconut Park is mainly during our summers. When it's nice and warm, it's not really throughout the year. I haven't had a pavilion rental for the past maybe 3 months already. So it's mainly just like the main summers,
Right.
other than that, there's no one really is reserving the pavilion for the Coconut, I think it's just that prioritization and for them to have that reservation just during that summertime with
And
all the
how
birthday
far out can you
parties.
reserve? Like, when does it start? Like like, do I go in and say, well, I need it for 4th of July? Or what, I mean, is it
First come, first served.
first come, first served?
First come, first served, and if I have that date reserved, then,
We would usually take into consideration that the last few years, I can't remember this last one or not, we had. The whole park reserved by an organization that was funded through Hotel Occupancy Tax Fund for the 4th of July celebration, so at that point, that would be an
Right,
issue.
I
We
just
wouldn't-
pulled
we
that
wouldn't-
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Which would be, it's also part of the ordinance, where it says that in the case of fundraisers or special events, they do take priority. So even if someone does reserve that pavilion at the moment, just like our fields, and if we have a special event like that, we will prioritize that event. Of course, giving them ample time for them to reschedule and try to accommodate the change.
We don't really have a rule, so they can do it pretty far into that.
Okay, I'm just trying to get up to speed with it.
So it's, I mean, it's addition to kind of recouping costs, as y'all have touched on, but it's really reserving the right to use it. So if there was somebody there, you could kind of show them your screenshot
Yeah.
or whatever and say.
We have a sign and
you know,
they have a
we really
paper
have it, so.
with everybody's info, like, and usually it's the most. Maybe 5 or 6 hours.
Okay.
But it'll give you the date and the time and everything, it's like,
Cool.
and they have a copy, so
Sure.
they go over there, it's like, hey, y'all need to get out.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's
It-
something.
It's online as well, it's on the online website where they can check it. And it's in one of those specific type of park, board, you know, what are they called? Those, notice boards that all the
Yeah.
parks have and advertising, so it will have. A flyer in there that's posted that has the reservee's, name, phone number. It also has an emergency contact number and it gives the details of the reservation as far as date and time.
The only other question I could think of is, do we know, well, I guess it's twofold, so. Do we know about how many people used, say, Coconut Park last year? I mean, for renting the pavilion or whatever?
I can
And then-
definitely get those numbers, because I
I,
have them in my
I'm,
log.
I'm just kind of curious, and then I was wondering with Pueblo Nuevo, I mean, that's a wonderful park. My wife and son, they were just there, actually, they're probably just leaving there right now, because they were meeting some friends. But, that's, I think, probably gonna be a pretty good draw too, but is there any kind of a goal that y'all would love to see, like? Target, if we could get this many families, like, we would love that, the pavilion usage is what I'm asking.
Yeah,
Is there a goal that we'd say we'd love this many people to?
I think it's just gonna be better now that we have that one,
Uh-huh.
because the ones that really strive to hit it like for 3 days.
Mhm.
When they're having like Bible camp, whatever,
Sure.
like they wanna have it first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So having that other one open.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Gotcha.
really help us out there.
It's a great thing, but,
Overall, I
Just
think
curious about-
the goal is to be able to offer
Yes.
more accessibility
Yes.
for all the, projects or groups that they have for recreationals out there to be produced. But as far as like how many, reservations should done, I think we're trying to see whether it's gonna match up the number of reservations that the Coconut Pavilion has. Or if it exceeds it, if we're noticing that it's around a matched number or it exceeds, then that's when we're gonna go ahead and regroup and see, okay. So we're definitely using it equally or more than Coconut Park, then this is when we need to consider about raising the price in order to cover the electrical fees and the service that they need to.
with the pavilion being bigger in Pueblo Nuevo,
It will
I think
justify.
that would be good.
And is this per day or is this?
It is per day.
Per day, not
And
per
so just to
reservation.
answer your question, it was reserved 42 times last year. And 3 of those days, well, 42 days, basically. 3 of those days were the same orientation for 5.
42 times. That would be for a month and a half.
And it's fair to families too, that want to be able to afford something too. There's not many options in ways to go and have a little get together party.
Do we advertise these pavilions on these media sites or?
Not on any social media sites, there are on the city website as far as like recreational and the visitor center. Sometimes put some up as far as like trails and parks that are available for the public.
There's a sign on the Coconut Park Pavilion, right? Isn't there, David, that directs them to
I think they-
reserve it?
Mhm.
I think they- 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 I
Do we have something like that for the Pocono?
Which is another project I think y'all should work on, we need to update our signs. A lot, yeah, there are a lot, they're out of date.
Just on these two pavilions?
No, I'm just saying in general. Like the hours are incorrect, the alcohol rules, you know, things have changed. So I think after y'all consider the ordinance. Update.
And then one last thing on the deposit, have y'all seen that you've had to go back clean up after people, or people generally pretty good about it?
they're real good.
They're good, I mean,
Yeah.
would be.
As far as the finance, because we don't take care of that, the ones that take care of that is, Grisel and Wikiki. In the financials, she's the one that's, responsible for taking the reservation care at the city hall and then takes the payment, the deposit. And also, keeps track of the deposit return. We work in collab, so that's something that I'm still gonna, as a matter of fact, I should mention that. That's something that is still gonna be my responsibility and not the recreational coordinators, but the field reservations and the pavilion reservations is still gonna be something that's gonna be between Lisette and finance and myself. And both of us feel that we already have something good going on that's been working, for David, for finance and myself, to keep track. So, we're not gonna delegate it to other teams.
I think I was just saying, like, have y'all had in the past where somebody trashed it and said, well, keep my $30, I don't know if it seems like everybody.
Oh, no,
No.
they usually clean it up. They're real good about it.
Plus, we made updates on what is permitted and not permitted
Right.
in the application for the reservation. There's certain things that we did, mention on it, that we saw, you know, like the confetti or what it was. Or water balloons. We definitely made the decision and we contacted Giselle to make those changes on the reservation. And so we added that information there, and it will be something that, we'll be adding, policies. For open.
So say a reservation is made on the weekend, like Saturday, when is the park like followed up and checked that everything was well, like it's the next business,
The next
like
day.
Monday, or on a Sunday?
It's it's for Friday and Saturday. So Friday we set it up and then on Saturday, one of us will go clean it up and everything and then ready for the next person.
And then their task, I made a form for them to, a checklist, which is also on part of your. So you see the reservations form and maybe we can go through it together, if you have any time for that, just write the task, sign. It's really easy to on program level, that you get the information, these are reservations.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, so yeah, so your fees are on page 12. On page 13, we have the reservation form for the Coconut Pavilion, if you want to kind of glance at it, see. Especially the rules and regulations. If you have any questions or any input on that.
Well, they're thinking about that. I got a question real quick. How long? So it's always been $30 for Coconut Pavilion, right?
It was 25 previously.
How long ago was that?
They implemented the 30 about a year ago. Maybe two, but I think it was,
And before then, it's always been at 25.
yes, for a long time, and we didn't, we still went to deposit, because we implemented the deposit at the same time with the $30.
Any questions or inputs on page 13? Coconut Pavilion reservation form? No,
I think my only question,
yes,
so we're charging both the deposit and the refundable. And the rental, for both parks, right?
Yes, and then deposit is 100%. Well, of course, contingent on that they follow the rules and regulations to the reservation. Which I may add, if you notice, another thing that we also are prohibiting is the use of the water, air jumping balloons. It just, they,
The rental ones?
yes, we placed them in the past, and it was just killing our grass, it was a whole deal, the water was getting used, the spigot wasn't getting turned off. Or it was tampered with all the time, so it's just something that just gave too much of a.
You're still allowing the bounce house, right? As long as it doesn't have the water.
Exactly.
Okay.
Dry bouncy house are definitely permitted, just not the water, because it'll damage our grass and interfere with the water.
Like before they used to have the jumping balloons for the water, all right? And they would just leave the big old square for it. I mean, they would kill the grass, so we took that out. So I don't know if we need to put it in there. We have taken all the jumping ones, the air ones, they're fine, but anything with water slides, we don't permit. In any other parks.
It's something that I have brought up for Grisel, let me see, it's been a while since I talked with some of this. We didn't place it in, so that's definitely something that, do you agree for me to add the, water jumping balloon prohibited?
Yeah, it was in before, but I don't know what,
Somebody took it out.
yeah, they
And
took
in
it
the
out.
rules, in the reservation itself, are you
Yeah.
selecting of the reservation, I can.
I don't know if it was like actually in there or when they would reserve it, they would just verbally
Just
tell.
verbally tell them, yeah, better off we put it in the,
But I can definitely place it,
Yeah,
okay,
And this
input
would be on page 13 and 15 and under rules and regulations.
to both reservations, so input the prohibited use of water jumping balloons. Is there anything else that you would like me to input or add?
I was just wondering about, playing music in the parties. With the volume and all this, or if they use like obscene language, music, you know.
I mean.
I've heard people playing music and
There's
they were
no,
playing obscene music and with
there's
kids.
no law regulation for anybody to restrict or it. Public usage of music or
That's fine.
anything because it's,
Fine.
it's their right. It's their right,
the only
legally,
time we
it's
did
their
it
right
was
to listen to whatever they want.
during the pool season. Cause some of the lifeguards had. You know, there's bad words in them. So one of the. Parents complained about that. That's the only time.
Foul language, and
Yeah.
the music.
Yeah.
right.
But on this other one, it's like, really, nobody's there or there's really no complaints.
And then the reason behind that, is because in the pool is indoors, right? They're all within one area. And so that's where the responsibility falls more towards the city, to have regulations there within those premises. Unlike with the pavilions, well, that's public use, just like the park, just like we cannot say anything of whomever decides to go barbecue on any part that's city owned, we cannot say, hey, you can't put that type of music. We have no jurisdictions over
The
that.
volume,
But no, I'm just concerned about obscene language because I was there with my baby on Coconut
Yes.
Park. And
We
they were
have-
playing rap and, F, and she's only 5 years old.
That if we would, the city and city employees won't have
I'll be
any
there.
restriction to be able to say anything to their,
You cannot put, no, do not use foul language, playing music or.
You know, probably following like
Going
freedom of
a
speech
lot
or
of,
something.
Really?
amendments by civil rights that do not really pertain to the city.
Really?
Mhm. You're already going into a level that it would be more of a civil right. Right,
And sometimes maybe just having a conversation with them, I don't know, you know,
Nice.
yeah, yeah, but there's a noise level in place, right? Yeah, so.
Yeah.
noise level, yes, but as far as the type of music they wanna use, no, it's not necessarily because they're at the pavilion. But it's all over the parks, whichever city, you can go to any park, play whatever music you want, and that is your legal right, civilian right. And as a civilian rights, we cannot say anything according to that, it will be in violation. As far as anything else for the rules and regulations, just input I'll also add, if I'll make a note to make sure that I have the balloons written there, and the other was the like confetti.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe there's a line item that says, you know, you have to follow standard pool or standard, or, you know, like they can't use metal detectors, they can't, you know, whatever, they have to follow just the standard park rules anyway, so.
Okay, follow standard park rules. The regulations, okay. Okay, that is 1, 2, 3. I'll add those and send the updated version to Gio. So that takes care of page 13 with the Coconut Pavilion reservation, and also page 15 with the reservation for the Pueblo Nuevo.
They're both the same, right?
Pretty much, and you go ahead and review it, I can definitely give you more time to review that. It was just drafted a little differently. Moving forward to page 16, this is the pavilion deposit refund clearance that I was speaking of earlier. This form is to be completed by the Parks Department, is what I was mentioning, that after the reservation of the pavilion, the Parks Department goes, as David said, the day after to clean and everything, and they go through this checklist. They will go through this checklist to make sure that everything was taken care of, that they didn't do anything that wasn't part of the parks regulations or the reservation. I made it simple draft where they can easily just check which pavilion, use the same form, same things. And then on the deposit not approved, I always feel that there should always be a reason why are we denying the deposit? What exactly was it that happened? Did they graffiti my trash can? Did they throw all this bunch of confetti and everything else? So I'll have that comment, and then they will be signing all the information in the bottom ready to submit. David and the staff for the parks crew, they submit these to me. And then I give him a copy, I keep a copy in my folder, and I scan it over to Ms. Grisel. To make sure that she has it for the deposit refund. This is what gives us a pretty much a overview of whether we missed someone or not, whether they got the refund or not. So I always stamp it scanned over. Once I scan it over to Ms. Grisel, if she ever loses one, she calls me back, and it has happened. For me, either I'm missing one, or I didn't send one, or she's missing. And we get together with this ledger that I have, where I have it scanned out. Oh, I do have this. I scanned it over on such date. And so I'll send her a copy, and she'll issue the refund, or vice versa. Oh, yes, Ms. Grisel, I have not received this checklist from Parks crew. I'll go ahead and get them to make sure that they sign one over, make sure that everything was clear. Do you have any questions or any input as far as what you would like to add for this?
Is there any liability form to protect the city from any mishap?
I wanna say there might have been a statement that they had to sign on there. I mean, like, take a look quickly.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, there's a statement.
Yeah, it's the paragraph under number 10, right here.
Okay.
On page
Thank you so much.
15, yeah.
Page 17 is the flyer that I was mentioning also earlier that gets placed on on the information board at the pavilions. It's simple, again, we don't wanna share too much information or demographics of the VC, so it's just who, the name, last name, date, time, and that emergency number.
What is that emergency number two? Good, David?
No.
I don't know, I'm asking.
It's all David.
Oh, what is that number? What is that number two?
That is your phone number, David, right?
Huh?
The 3486,
No, I don't know who that.
That's the Alpine Public Dispatcher.
Yeah.
is that what it is? He gave me the number, I did not ask. Is it less?
It's going to the right.
Yeah.
It's put up before someone's registration.
At that day,
Oh, that day it'll get checked.
so that way.
I just asked for an emergency number or who to contact and he gave.
You're right, everybody.
No verification.
Okay.
Now, let's say that.
You're it.
I was like, yes, sir, that's the emergency number, okay, let me write it down.
No, if it gets, let's say she gets one tomorrow, it's for this Saturday, I'll go ahead and post it, that way, if anybody's going by there, they could be like, oh, there's something happening, so that way they just won't plan, they could work around it.
About it, but it
Yes.
did come in handy. A while back, a friend was telling me about wanting to have a Bridgeside Park, and I told her, I don't know, you're gonna have to go reserve over there. And then I remembered you told me about the calendar online, and it was super convenient. I just pulled up and I was like, oh, it's booked, sorry. Had to change the date for your birthday, but that's really convenient to have that there. Instead of coming here and like having to take a few minutes of each other's time to do that, so.
And that might be nice on the website, I don't know if there is on the website, like a.
Well, I was
Squares.
thinking, we have all that available, it's just, I guess maybe we should, do like a news article or something, kind of announcement, letting people know, it's just hard to let.
And most people, I think, know, and
The other question on that website, is there gonna be a way to differentiate between Pueblo Nuevo?
Yes, there's already a separate calendar for
There
it.
is, okay.
The way that they have the calendar for the city website is, it has all the icons in different colors with like the fields, the civic center. I mean, everything that's posted there on field reservations. It's, as it's listed, it has its individual color and dot both on our end and the public view end in order. And whenever I do the reservations, I cannot speak for Grisel because Grisel does the computer part for the pavilions, unlike I do the computer part for the fields. But typically for like the fields, I will place manual paint and then I'll put like the whoever reserved it and then the date frame. And that will be, viewable to the public. For Grisel, I've never really noticed how she's placed it, but actually, I go back on that. She plays Civic Center and then she puts what the organization that reserved that area.
And I know you probably, well, you discussed this before I got here, but electricity, is it on all the time at Coconut or just when it's reserved?
That is the question that I'll let David.
It's on, at Coconut, it's always on, cause really, nobody really uses it. Now on Pueblo Nuevo, they're probably gonna use it, so that one, when they do install everything, they're gonna install it where, of course, we can lock it, so when it's reserved, go over there and stick it on. But this one, we really don't have any trouble, I mean, you might have one kid or two, maybe charge a phone or something.
But
But other
just
than
like,
that,
cause I know that they've had like quinceañera practices there in the summers and. They don't reserve it, obviously, right? They
Yeah.
I'll just be at the pavilion Monday to Friday. So I was just wondering if there's any.
yeah, cause before they would call around, I mean, the park's already closed, but they would call like 8:30. Like, can you come turn the electricity on? Like, we're supposed to be at the park, really dark.
Yeah.
But it does state in here that it's, park hours are from 5 AM to 11. So,
So that's
But-
another thing. is
Yeah,
that,
like on winter,
I'm curious about a question. Has anybody ever sued Parks and Recreation?
No, not
Ever,
ever, ever. I mean, we would have to conduct a search through our records, but I think
Not that you remember.
definitely not in recent.
no, not yet.
And that's another thing that Councilor Patillo brought up is, the hours have changed per ordinance after the last time the board has considered this. So, I believe it had already changed. I know the hours changed in January of 2024, and now it's, I think, till 10 or 11 o'clock at night, the ordinance.
Says 11 in here.
In the ordinance, okay?
Yes.
And so right now, you know, the pavilion can be rented from 9 AM to 9 PM. Just something to point out, if y'all think that's good to go. I mean, I think it's fine. I don't think anybody should. Wanted to mention it.
Move forward to the ordinance. As we discussed in previous Parks Board meeting, the intent and upon agreed by everybody unanimously to be able to add these changes to the ordinance and the policy.
Are we moving on to C? Is that-
Is the board already?
Any other discussion, real quick, any other discussion on the updates to the park and recreational fees? Okay, so,
And then we will revisit that in the action as it affects as well.
right, okay, so. Okay, so now we'll move on to C, where we review the updates, chapter 74.
Perfect, thanks.
Sorry, I'm just.
So I'm gonna lead you to page 23. Let me know when you all reach that page. So after Gio and I reviewed all the changes that we wanted to make, we pretty much were able to determine what areas we were able to just add it to the policies and procedure and what changes we had to actually place on the ordinance. The ones that we mutually agreed to place on the ordinance are in that section below the ordinance number 2025-01-02. You'll see that there's a section underlined. Those are the changes that we're wanting to amend. Metal detectors. 1, the use of any kind of metal detectors shall be prohibited. 2, unauthorized digging. Excavation or digging is prohibited without prior permission form. And of course, this is just a draft, so any misgrammar there, don't worry, like an A is missing there. I'm catching it myself. But prior a permission form must be filled out and it should be, the permission needs to be done by the park supervisor. Any questions on that little section?
I just had one, for every rule, there's a reason why. So what was kind of the reasoning of us, saying no metal detectors? I mean, I can understand unauthorized digging, but metal detectors, what was the thinking behind that? Okay.
Because of
it
the
would-
age, so
it would just, basically, people would
Yeah.
be digging.
I
So
mean,
it's not
some
the metal
to bring a knife
detector
this
so much
big and they bring one this big
Yeah.
and,
Okay,
they don't know where the
Hmm.
irrigation is, so.
sure. Okay.
And I don't know if you want me to repeat that, if it is hearable what he said, but it's pretty much the sprinkler system.
Gotcha. Not damage our stuff in the ground.
Mhm.
Okay.
And we've had the occasional metal detectors.
Only gophers could dig that, that's it.
Oh, there you go.
We're the only ones that.
And who enforces that? If somebody's out there with a metal detector, I mean,
Oh, it's just, the
emergency number.
emergency number would be, or no more our park supervisor and the crew should be out there keeping a vigilant eye of what's going on in some parks.
I didn't mean to hold this up or anything, I just was kind of curious. That was like a thing that people were coming.
Oh, no, I
Well,
know.
my thought would be like if somebody lost
This
a
is
ring or
what
something and they want.
you're supposed to do.
Sure.
Update or.
But I guess you could, it says you could ask.
Permission.
Without
Permission.
permission.
Right.
Yeah,
If
it's
they
kind of like
did
that.
like lose a ring or something, you could say, hey, I'm just gonna, I want the.
Yeah. Okay, good, thank you.
Question.
Electrical use. The use of electricity for fields or parks shall be determined and permitted by the park supervisor, subject to city manager approval. 2, the limitations, prohibited use, consequences of misuse, and priorities shall determine under set written or updated policy and procedures by the park supervisor, subject to city manager. Any questions on that?
Sounds like we're not regulating the electricity, so it's.
And if anything, you know, it's like we're giving the first, you know, note to our park supervisor and how he sees fit and all that, and but of course, our city manager will always, if the city manager in place sees, no, I do think they should have use for it, of course, we will overrule our park supervisor. Any questions or input on that? Jill is, after, he's gonna do a wonderful job there. Written how it should be written in a minute.
Any professions?
The following item that we're adding to the ordinance is on page 26. And page 18. Under 74-13 for commercial activity, we're adding a section C. Field commercial classes and instruction. 1. A person may not conduct classes or instructional activities for compensation in a field unless the person obtains a permit from the city and completes a waiver of liability. 2. A person may not provide a free class or instruction as an inducement or advertisement for a paid class or instruction unless the person has a permit from the city to conduct classes for compensation. 3. Priority use for practice in game fields. Fields are reserved free of charge for team practices and games to encourage and promote field use for teams over commercial activity or personal profit, with the exception of authorized fundraisers or special events. 4. Permits for commercial use at practice in game fields will not be approved, with the exception of authorized fundraisers or special events. That concludes that amendment.
So I got a question. So when you go pull a permit, what's the, is there a fee? Like say someone is gonna do that. And saying that, you know, you have to go pull a permit if you're gonna do it, is there a fee for that permit?
Did we?
That's a good question.
And if there is, then whenever you'll do decide to put all this stuff down, you know, put down what the permit fee is gonna be, like $25 or something, whatever, you know, just throwing out a number.
Yes, sir. Did we include the,
I'm checking right now.
I-
I don't think,
there is a,
I don't think there was a fee associated with it. But in the permit conditions, you know, and me and AD had this conversation. We make it clear that, well, I mean, and she included that in the actually in the ordinance too, that it's only with. How do you say, the team practice is gonna be prioritized, basically, and it has to, you know, have a permit if you're going to do these commercial classes. I mean, but typically, I don't think, I was telling you, like, I don't think that we would want to approve a permit for them conducting, like, you know.
Well, I mean, if you are gonna do it, you know, and they're gonna gain profit, you know, I'm not talking about a organization or anything, like, say an individual comes up. Cause I like, you know, I'm gonna do, you know, I'm gonna do a class, I mean, you know, or some type of
within.
whatever, you know, let them do it, pay. You know, you're gonna pull a permit, cause they're actually coming up here to talk to you and let you know exactly what's going on. And if they're gonna do that, then you give them the permit, then they pay like a $25 fee. You know, and then they're able to do it legally, you know what I'm saying?
Well, my thing is that, me and Adri, like I said, we had discussed this and I said, you know, typically I don't think that they should be approved. So I would hate to have the person fill a permit, pay $25 and tell them, nope, sorry, not approved. That's where I'm at, because I personally don't feel like we would ever approve those.
The reason behind that is because going back to the reason why we even included this change and came up after so many discussions on it is the level of conflict that comes out from authorizing someone doing a commercial instruction with paid when you have all these other recreational organizations that feel that, you know, this is not.
Yeah, I get that, but so if that's the case, then on number 1, where it says a person may not conduct classes or instructional activity for compensation in a field unless the person obtains a permit from the city and completes a waiver of liability. Maybe that needs to get taken out.
We know, I think-
completely.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's.
And
We're not gonna do it, we might as well just say period.
yeah,
If
no
you
one,
say
no one's
person
doing it.
May conduct classes, instructional,
Okay, that sounds good.
What part did you want me to cross out?
Number one,
not
Number
cross out completely, but amend, instead of just say. No person may conduct classes or instructional activities for compensation in that field.
No, just that, no, instead of any.
yeah,
Instead
because
of a.
right now, you know, like I said, it says a person may conduct
That should just be.
Like the
number
last
one.
part.
in a
where it says-
field, yeah. You know,
So-
for compensation in a field and leave it at that, and you take out the unless part. Because then that right there kind of opens up that, okay, well then you're saying, unless I come over here and get a permit, then I'm able to
Right.
do this.
I'm gonna confirm and re-mention what,
And
so
this,
to confirm, the correction would be, on number one. No person may conduct classes or instructional activities for compensation in a field, period.
and I'm,
Correct.
I'm in that just to add, if, see what y'all think, no person or entity. I mean, I'm just saying there may be like, well, we're the such and such sports training league or whatever, I don't know.
But you do have like,
Person or entity, or is, no person is that,
so I know like,
that's what I'm asking.
there are times when. You know, for example, like Nike will hold a camp
Correct.
in,
Yeah.
in towns and stuff
Mhm.
like that, right there, we should allow.
We
You
can
know,
always do-
because this is coming from, you know, professional people that actually know what's going on and doing. Now that I don't see a problem with.
So
What-
then, do you
what I
want to
always-
add,
Yeah, because that will fall under,
At the end of the day, what I usually do, and you see it through there a lot, is at the end of the day, put unless approved by the city manager, kind of like
Yeah.
it's that in the bud.
yeah,
so
Okay.
we're adding. And again, cause I do want full confirmation and verbal, so I'll be doing no person may conduct classes or instructional activities for compensation in the field. Do you wanna leave it just as, or do you want to also add no person or entity? Just
I
no
would
person.
just leave it
Okay.
personally.
And then for the second sentence, we're gonna add unless,
An exception is approved by the city. Right, unless an exception is approved by the city.
Because I know, especially for the field, softball, baseball. Where we've gone, you know, when my kids were playing, you know, not here in Alpine, but other cities where. You know, college coaches, you know, from different colleges have come down. And they charge like $25 a kid, you know, because they gotta get paid for what they're doing also, and I get that. You know, so that's what I'm saying is like, if Alpine's willing to do that, you know, and we're working towards fixing up these fields and things like that, so that's gonna bring in some stuff like that, you know, so. And again, you know, I mean, that's, you know, if it is allowed, you are gonna give them a permit, you know, at least. If we charge them, that is a little bit of money coming into the city, you know, might not be much, but still some, you know what I'm saying? And especially if they're gonna be using lights and things like that. I get that, you know, but that's what we're talking about, like if they're gonna hold, camps and things like that. I'm not talking about these kids that are, you know, these teams that are practicing over there and stuff like that, you know, our little local teams.
so in this case. Good point. In this case, unless exception is approved by the city manager. In parentheses, fees may be implied. How would we word that? That,
No,
and would that be something that we are
we could add,
gonna
incorporate
consider
any
in place?
fees.
Discretion of the city manager. That's right.
Oh, so then I can write it,
All the
I can
fees.
write in a way where approval and fees and discretion.
I just don't think you should make a reference to the fees, if anything, the fees are always set by city council resolution. So like if y'all wanted to, when we're discussing the parks and recreation fees, if y'all wanted to make a permit fee or something like that, y'all can do that at that time. The city council will approve it and.
But, you know, but I mean, even thinking about it now, you know, now that I'm saying it out loud, you know. These people are kind of going out of their way to come do all this stuff, so maybe not even charging, just coming in, making sure that they. Pull a permit or something and talk to somebody within the city to allow them to do that, yeah, you
Which,
know, I get that.
we already have the, commercial, reservation, fee. A waiver and liability.
Okay.
I'm
Right,
not
that
the
was my
fee,
question. So
the
that,
waiver and liability reservation commercial form. We just forgot
We
to,
will have to update it based on this though, once the ordinance passes and everything, because we included the fields, but I think I like that idea much better, just to. Against the rules to charge commercial rates or any service for those fields. I mean, that is still allowable generally in the park by permit, or even the pavilion,
and the permit. Make sure that the liability part is covered.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know, it's not really a trend here, but the trend in other cities is like with the boot camps, and stuff like that, we have. People meeting at the park in the morning, they're working out, and somebody breaks their leg or something, where's that liability fall? But that's where the permit, I think, would take care of that.
Permit, and then when you sign the waiver
Oh,
of
that's
that
right.
boot
Yeah,
camp,
right.
you know, of them instructors, you know, 'cause I'm pretty sure a lot of them will have some type of.
They do, how does the city?
Yeah.
protect itself?
Exactly.
How does, the same thought. Right.
Yeah, we'll
I gotta protect the city.
Actually, wouldn't this amendment,
I'll need the
the form,
Let them, we can bring it up.
or
it's too vague. The language,
They kind of go over it
the
together.
legal language is too vague.
I have a question. Why is it so, like, we're not okay with an individual that is host training or teaching classes to be able to reserve and maybe pay a fee? Why are we so like not okay with that?
We had complaints because
Yes.
the actual teams weren't able to get it because they booked for like for profit, somebody was, I guess, training kids or teaching them how to play and stuff like that. So there'd be like 3 kids versus the whole team. I had complaints from people in Marfa, they drove all the way down here. I mean, we explained where you could actually do calendar online, books, et cetera. But that's when we started having these conversations of how are we going to do the reservation process and how long are we gonna let them do it in advance?
So we
And
just,
this
we have
is a
multiple
concession that the calls were not only just going for jail, they were going to be. I mean, they were
City
calling,
City
they were
council.
calling our parks foreman, they were calling our director, they were going straight to city council. And that's where there was just like this chaos on it, and we want what's best for the community, we want it to be fair and square for everybody. We definitely do not want to make anybody in our community feel isolated or ostracized or, ganged up on. So it's like, when you have that type of situation, you just nip it in the butt, make it fair across the board, and that's how it's just gonna go. Because for us as the city trying to provide all this for our community, we definitely do not want to be going through all these little hassles that happens within the. Just wanna make it fair and square.
And I also think that the people that are teaching classes, they should have the certifications to teach website classes. I mean, go through all the trainings and everything, because I could say, oh, I'm gonna go teach softball lessons or volleyball lessons. Do I know much about those sports? Yeah, I know. No.
but it's not
But like,
the parents that volunteer to coach these teams that are out there, though.
but those parents don't get paid to coach. Those are all.
So that's what I was saying is, even though if an individual's going out there to teach classes. And if they're reserving and paying a fee since they're getting compensated, that's what I'm saying, is there a difference for that though? If that person. had to pay a fee
We're
to
gonna go
learn?
ahead and not charge it at all, right? That's what you.
Because if you're volunteering to coach, why are you charging a fee? I mean, for example, somebody, in my sense of like tumbling, if I had to go all this training for these tumbling classes to be certified to teach somebody to tumble. Somebody comes out and says, no, I'll meet you at the pavilion or the field and charge you $25 once you go to tumble. How do you know that they're teaching you the proper techniques or things when people like have the certifications? So.
And on top of that, I'm understanding this is kind of a public versus private, kind of a conflict where a private. Say my business is to teach, girls how to bat better at softball or something. I shouldn't be able to use the public parks for my private business. Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Right.
But I think it has to do with when they're charging a fee. It's one thing if they're,
Yeah.
So, so what, I'll tell you what happened was, I got a call from a whole bunch of them. That, some they were reserving a field for their private lessons, right? And so they had 2 kids. And so what was happening was somebody would come in and reserve the field for the whole year. Right? And then not giving anybody else a chance, right? So then there were teams that were trying to get on the fields, they were sitting there. So, you know, it goes back and forth, right? Arguing back and forth. And, well, you know, can we practice on this field? You only have 2 players, you only have 2 individuals here. Well, no, I got it reserved. So at the end, might as well just nip it in the bud, like they say, you know, and say, no, that's not gonna happen. You know, let's let these teams, when you have 10 or 11, and, you know, in our little area, like he said, there were kids coming, parents driving their kids from Marfa. You know, and again, you know, it does fall back on the city because there were no ordinances or any law, any rules, anything. So, you know, it was kind of a free for all, but that's why we're all here to kind of clean it up and make it, you know, to where it's better for everybody and everybody understands that these are the rules. You know, you're gonna abide by them, and this is how it's gonna go from here on out, because if you take and you let that one person do it, then somebody else is gonna wanna do it. Well, you did it for them, then why aren't you doing it for me? You know what I'm saying? So at the end, that's what was happening, you know, and like we said, you know, when city council was getting calls, when, you know, Geo, the city, you know, everyone here at the city's getting calls for stuff like that, and again, it's, you know, it's not fair, I get it, you know,
And
I
it's
think
not-
fair, so-
And at that point, no, that was also first year with the city. First year me taking care of all these fields and the recreational park. So I definitely saw, well, my job is to honor according to what rules and regulations and ordinance are in place. And so I had to honor. Of course, that also created chaos because then we have all those things, right? The changes, and I've always mentioned before, even in council, we listen to all these complaints. We do listen to all these comments and concerns and everything. We definitely take it deep in consideration and we discuss Eddie, my director, David, my park supervisor, myself. We all group in my little office where we kind of gather for what I saw, input that I felt needed to be done, changes that needed to be done. And then, of course, once everything was agreement with my park supervisor and my director for what we saw, and we came up with a plan, we brought it up to our city manager, and, you know, this is where we all came in agreement and we saw the solution, and our point and our perspective to approach this was exactly that. But me as a mother that have, you know, children that have played in those fields and currently have a child that plays in those fields and both, I myself have to go through all this process as well as a parent on a personal level. I saw both sides of it, and in a way completely unbiased, I said, well, the best solution is just this. As personal and professional is the best solution for.
Does that answer? Did you have another comment? You wanted to-
No, maybe we should look a little bit more into the liability issue. Have you discussed this with legal counsel in regards to liability?
Liability issues.
Protection.
To what?
Anything, because you say that you're freeing, you know, from any,
We want some of that handled on a council level as far as.
The liability.
I just find it too vague, you know, that little paragraph.
Which one?
Maybe it should be an addendum, a separate addendum that they need to sign or liability.
Yes, sir, I hear you. Which paragraph is?
Yeah, the one that, you mentioned that, I already read, but I think that. Yes, yes.
Okay, that was in page 13, correct?
Yes. And also on number 15.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we can certainly take a look at that, I think, and see how we can improve it.
Any suggestions? Kind of write up, summarize something?
Well, no, I just have concerns because, to give an example, I go to the park a lot, with my daughter, and she likes to do the monkey bars all the time. And, on Coconut Park, there is, well, the paint, for example, is peeling. You know, and, somebody was hanging on and, they got some chip paint into the eye and that was it, they left. You know, if they have a claim to that, and you're saying that they don't have any claims whatsoever.
Well, that's pertaining to the regular park use.
Right.
These forms are only particularly and in specific to the pavilion reservation, so that's completely separate.
Just pavilion
Okay.
reservations, they don't
Just-
use that park, they cannot wander.
I mean, and there's just general laws in place governing public property and what you can and can't be held liable for. Plus, we do have insurance if somebody does try to submit a claim. I mean, or how do you say it? Like,
Somebody starts drinking under the table and
I mean, it's just all, we do our best to implement the ordinances and how we can.
there's so many things that can happen.
But, you know, again, there's just already laws and rules about how all of that in the public space is handled, and if somebody approaches us, we're going to, you know, take it seriously and send it to our insurance, but a lot of times, I don't think that it would be covered in this public.
Yes, because it's
It's not on
It is separate, the park use.
municipality.
separate from
The
the
law?
pavilion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's laws in place that govern being on public property and what cities could be liable for. Obviously, if it was our own negligence, well, then they might have a claim, right?
Right,
But other than that, if they're on the monkey bars, whatever, unless it broke, it's just on a case by case basis, and I think that I don't know that it's really worth looking forward as far as on the public's part. This one would be just for the pavilion, and we can certainly look at other cities that have similar rentals and just see what they have in place and see if maybe we can improve the pavilion plan.
Because as you said, this is just pertaining to the pavilion itself, not the public use of parks and recreation.
regardless of that, you can ask AI, example, or Grok, and it will show you a list of things that could be
Yeah, perfect.
included. I'm not an attorney,
Yeah, we can bury
okay?
ourselves, we can bury ourselves in legality, we're not careful, but yeah.
And we can bury ourselves in comparison with like all the cities out there and all the parks and all the liabilities. I mean, it
We
usually.
all have always something to learn.
They all have, all city parks, and establishments usually follow the governing rules that have already been set for the cities and for parks.
Okay.
Like, which I believe that's something that would be through council, right?
Well,
I mean,
Well, another-
don't take me wrong, I'm here learning, and I'm learning,
So
and
maybe,
trying to understand.
maybe a suggestion would be if you, this seems to be a passion, if you have the time, maybe you could do some research for us.
I would,
And then
Promise, I
kind of
will.
present that and then say, okay, here's what I found.
that sounds great.
Because we don't really have the capacity to do that here, but maybe if you have the time or, you know, then
We have a-
okay,
yes,
let's look
of
at
course.
this. Right, that's
Yeah.
why we have this board. Right.
although I'm not an attorney.
Well, but you have AI.
Legal counsel.
No, okay, real quick.
Mr. Torres, did you? have
Yes,
something to say?
And this goes back to the page 26, C number 3, where we talk about priorities for infill, spills, and reserve. And this has probably nothing to do with this, but I know at one of our first meetings, we discussed field usage and how long we're gonna allow them to reserve the field.
Mhm.
Is that something that's still up
Policy.
policies?
Yes, so, within the ordinance, remind me what section it said? Cause
There-
we were
there-
going through it and it pretty much already kind of phrased it that it's,
There's basically like,
We
that would
can
be
do that in the
administrative in
policy.
nature. So, I mean, if you would like, we can certainly look at setting something up by ordinance or maybe explicitly saying that, the policy, you know, that. What was the point exactly? It was, about the, like, duration
Right,
of use
because
and things of
some
that
people
nature.
will reserve for a year, some people.
But like,
ready, play.
we were planning to do that
Okay.
more on a policy level, which is administrative, so it's not so hard to change.
Not gotten to start on writing or drafting the policy and procedures, but believe me, I am already mentioning that to the public when they're calling to reserve. I'm already getting plenty of reservations for the fields for our upcoming baseball season. our BBASA is growing. We have so many other organizations that are coming and they're working together wonderfully, may I add. As far as trying to schedule, you know, their field dates, and their game dates and practice dates within the fields. Getting together with, David. I know that there's, Kevin is no longer the
Right.
president
It's
of.
Doug
the-
McIntyre now.
Thank you. I needed to find that out.
So speaking of that, I did get a message from him the other day. If, and I've been meaning to call you, I just forgot, I dropped the ball too. If they're allowed to kind of start working on that field.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, they usually call.
Yeah.
A bunch of parents will get together and start
Yeah.
working on it.
and it's my fault, I dropped the ball on that one, that was a week or two ago.
Oh.
My bad.
I'll go back to your concern about the duration of the max limit of that reservation. So, all in unanimous agreement between director, park supervisor, my city manager and myself, we agreed to 4 months, no longer than 4 months. Kind of looked at the terms and dates of usual reservations and how the seasons go, and we do not see in necessity for them to reserve more than 4 months. After the 4 months, deadline drops for them for their reservation, and it's again first come, first served.
And Adri, we do actually have an item for the next meeting to discuss this, and that it's because she, and y'all were there at that conversation as well, she just wanted some additional time to actually get that put forward.
Right.
So we'll discuss that next meeting.
Next month.
Yes, in February,
February.
12th, I believe, we said,
Okay,
the 11th.
I will work hard for you guys.
I encourage y'all to go spend an hour in her office, it'll blow your mind, you're just, yes, so much going on, I don't know if it does it, it's pretty impressive, so it's.
Thank you.
It's-
On page 26, so on the field, on letter C, field commercial classes and instruction, where we're adding that. What is letter B? Is letter B specifically for the park? Like,
Please repeat in which part?
so we have
In
one
what
on
section?
page 26, letter C, you did the field commercial classes and instruction, those like set of rules. For letter B on top, are those rules specifically for the park?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's why she created that separate section just to address them.
I thought it should be definitely clarified because we have nothing that specifically said fields. So that's where I felt the need for us to make this change in the amendment, in the ordinance.
Any other discussion? We're good.
I'm just got one,
That's
I
fine.
don't wanna be a dead horse here, page 26, C3. It's, says again, fields are reserved free of charge for team practices and games. What about like a pickup game of kids who play on a team, but they just wanna go there and play like a pickup baseball game or a pickup soccer game? Is that open, or does it need to be,
All fields
all
must
fields must
be
be reserved?
reserved.
Created, okay,
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure.
All
They'll override it.
fields, pavilion is
And
premises
soccer
that
field.
we're,
No, and
we have to
I
have.
think that's good, that there's knowledge of who's using it and all that stuff, I just wanna make sure, okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, moving on to 7, action items.
And really quickly, lastly on that note, once we make your recommendations, once Adri incorporates your recommendations, we can go ahead and have it as an official action item at the next meeting unless you don't think we're ready, or there's other portions of the ordinance that want to change. What are y'all thinking?
I think we should put it on for next. I think so, action item, I mean, yeah, I agree.
So we'll work on doing that.
Because otherwise we end up moving it down. It'll be.
Okay.
And nothing. else
Changes
gets
are being heard, concerns are being heard. Just know that, in order to get that moving forward, there's process. slowly but surely we'll get it going. We'll get it to what we want it to be, what it should be.
Action item, A, approve recommendation to the city council regarding parks and recreational fees. City manager.
Thank you. Alrighty, so this one is just basically where you all can make a formal decision on what you want to recommend that council approves as far as fees are concerned. With any fees that we charge, we always take them to city council first. So again, if you have any other recommendations on any other fees, outside of these, you can certainly make a recommendation or we can discuss it. I did meet with David and Adri ahead of the meeting and we kind of went over everything we could think of and I think this is pretty much where we're at right now. But again, it's, y'all can make whatever recommendation and it could be different from what we have. This is what we had to start as a base free review.
And this is page 12.
It is going to dollars.
The very last page.
On the very last, okay, it's on the left, okay. Well, earlier it came up about permits, would that be something we would need to talk about here? Or
If you
is that
think,
sensitive?
if you think that we should charge a fee for, like the commercial permit, that would be, I think the only permit really that we would be working.
Which I
with.
think according to Portillo, we kind of just went back on that and we're just not gonna do it. And then once, we get together and make those, cause we just simply forgot to give you the copy of the permission and waiver form. But now that we're gonna make some, corrections to it, then we'll forward everything.
Okay. Anybody else? So we'll need a motion to approve, right? To approve these
As presented.
as presented. So somebody can make a motion to,
If these are the fees, I'll make a motion to approve these fees to move forward
as,
as per the, per Paulino and Coconut.
okay, do we have a second?
Now you voted, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah, right. Okay, so now we'll move on to number 8, board member comments. Start with Joseph, do you have any comments?
I think I'm good today.
Good today?
Today.
We'll see how I do next one, right?
Just appreciate all y'all's work.
Thank you.
I already bothered you enough. So
Okay.
good.
Okay, I just want to say thank y'all too, because we're all fairly new here and we're kind of figuring this out together. And so we very much appreciate all the work that they do. I mean, like I said, if you knew how much work they actually physically have to do, I think they're doing the job of 2 or 3 people and I think it's very commendable. So, and we have a new city manager coming on, so that's going to be exciting. Maybe we can get them to a meeting and,
I'm sure you will.
and so, yeah, I think, anything else?
Nope.
We're adjourned at, what is this, 6:58?
6:58. Thank you.
Thank you.